Okay, so my guest right now is my friend Emile Deweaver. We met when he was incarcerated at San Quentin, and I was visiting the writing class there and working with some of the writers who were there. And Emile has been out since December 2017 and is wildly successful in blowing people away with his writing and everything else he's doing. Emile, thanks for being here.
Hey, how you doing, Mike?
Good.
Quick correction. The governor commuted my sentence in 2017, but the way bureaucracy works, I wasn't free until 2018.
How far? I remember when you told me that your sentence was commuted, and I said, "Oh, hey, what's it like being out?" And you're like, "I don't know."
Yeah.
How long was it before you actually got out?
About 10 months.
Oh man, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, if there's a way for the system to screw you, they'll do it. Yeah.
Well, in this case, like I gotta say, however long it takes to get out after having a life sentence commuted,
Yes.
like I can hardly describe it as being screwed.
Oh no, I absolutely I appreciate that. And you're still living in Oakland, right?
Yeah. I'm in clearly like we're all social distancing, so I'm at home right now.
So I got right off the bat, everyone in America pretty much is, or most of us are restricted to our home for most of the day. What is that like for you after having spent all those years incarcerated? I mean, for most of us, we feel like, oh man, we're in prison here. What was that like having to go back now and being stuck at home?
I find that I have to be very sensitive to people who haven't spent all of their lives in a prison cell,
Right.
Because people are like losing their mind. And me and my friends who spent a lot of time in prison, we're looking at each other and we're kind of like chuckling because it's like, this really reminds me of a lockdown. Like this is a lockdown, except we have unlimited Netflix, which is for us amazing. Like my cabinet and my fridge is stocked. We all feel very secure.
And you're not sharing a 5x8 cell with some other sweaty.
Yeah, like it's fine with me right now. I feel like because of that extreme deprivation in my life, I'm just gonna have a higher tolerance for isolation. And so being into week 2, it's like any other week for me. Being into month 6, I'm gonna be like everybody else. Like, man, when is this shit gonna end?
Right. Well, and I know you're also thinking of your friends who are still inside, and I know just from visiting, when there was a cold, everyone got it, and to think of something like this. So talk a little bit about what you're thinking about that.
That's in prison, like I just said, like we met in San Quentin, and San Quentin has a lot of old people in it.
Right.
They're gonna probably die.
Right.
Because you can't keep a secret in prison. That's how closed the system is.
Right.
It is like the worst small town you have ever been in. And that's just an idea. It's like a thought an intangible thought in someone's mind. That's what a secret is. We're talking about a tangible virus that if it hits a prison yard, everybody's gonna get it.
Right.
Period.
And already you have substandard health care.
Oh my God, the healthcare is laughable.
Yeah, Massachusetts General, one of the best hospitals in the world, has this outbreak. There are more staff that are sick than they have patients. So if the state-of-the-art hospital in Boston, of all places, can't take care of their own doctors and nurses, imagine a system that has been built on contracting out to the lowest bidder for everything for a century. When I first time I went to San Quentin, the two things that hit me. I mean, the first thing that hits you is the racial disparity. You know it going in. We kind of know it, but until you get there and you go, oh my God, but that just blows you away. Yeah. The second thing is how many elderly people there are there. You know,
Yeah.
these old guys usually like in an orange vest or something, so people stay, you know, and you think, wow, that guy must be some criminal mastermind or something. It's like, no, they've just been warehoused there since they were young enough to commit a crime 40 years earlier.
Yeah.
So I know that's one of the things you're asking for is specifically to get some of those older.
Yeah, a lot of really fierce advocates in California and New York and across the country are trying to get governors to just release people who are over 60 from prison.
Right.
Like these people, like they're not a threat to society.
Right.
You know, there's often this idea that, oh, well, like we have to protect the community and we have to do it to community. We are the community. We're on this camera right now saying, hey, let these people out of prison. We're the community, right?
Right.
And like,
and even law enforcement will tell you they've aged out of committing crimes. Crimes tend to be committed by men in their teens and 20s and maybe early 30s.
It's just not okay. Like, let them out of prison, because a lot of people are gonna die when this virus hits these prison yards.
Yeah.
And in addition to like a lot of people dying in an attempt to like keep people from dying, but people got to understand what the protocols for quarantine and isolation look like in prison. It's solitary confinement.
Right.
Like
right.
that's the medical treatment.
Right.
Like a person gets put in solitary confinement. They call it administrative segregation, but
Right.
what it is solitary confinement.
So
Or
for people who don't know, tell them the difference between life in a cell, a very tiny cell with another person, and solitary.
It was designed for punishment. Like
Right.
as much as it's designed for an extra layer of punishment, right?
Psychological torture.
Yeah. So just the architecture,
right?
The architecture of solitary confinement or administrative segregation cells, and the staffing mentality in that kind of unit, it's designed and geared towards an extra layer of punishment.
Right. So if someone comes down with COVID-19 in San Quentin, they get put in solitary and are treated like everyone else in solitary. And
because it's not like the guards like walking down the rosters of the whole and being like, oh, this guy's not that he didn't do anything wrong, it's that like he has COVID-19, right? It's like, especially when we get to these outbreak numbers that are coming.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of layers. You got a lot of things that actually means in real time.
Right.
Like right now in the free world, like people who work in the service industry have to go to work.
Right.
Like they have to go to work. Period. They have to go to work, or they will have nowhere to live, and they will have nothing to eat. So what does that mean? It means that if I'm in the service industry and I get sick, I'm going to work because I have to go to work. Right? Not because I want to get you sick, but because I have to go to work. And so you think about prison, and it's that the virus is already dangerous enough because you can have it and not present symptoms.
Right.
So that's already a recipe for disaster in a prison population. The second layer of it is, even when you do present symptoms, who the fuck is gonna say, oh, you know what? I think I might have COVID-19, knowing the result is I'm going to the hole.
That's a good point. Yeah, absolutely.
So the way human minds work is, I got the sniffles, and it's like, well, maybe it's not COVID.
Right,
and maybe I'll just stay here in the, like, I'll do my own medical treatment. I'll be my own doctor. Like, of course that doesn't work, because that's why they pay medical professionals, because they're medical professionals. But the thing is, like, you got to understand that who's like this now, that makes it even hard to detect in the population before it even starts spreading. So that's why it's very easy to understand that if the virus gets into a prison, everybody will get it.